And some of our black brothers who think that they are being marginalized, let them come down to Nigeria and let them come down to the shithole countries. Let's gather the shit together and eat it together. Okay? But if you can't do it, appreciate what you have. So that's the truth of the matter. Inequality is everywhere. Fallen human beings will always and America is a lot better than many countries. In America, by the sheer power of merit and the skill you have, you can become anything. America has something we call military force. They flaunt it once in a while and they tell the nations behave. Now, America is not perfect, but at the least they have some standards that put and brings nations and gives it order. When you have weaklings as leaders of America, every other person behaves anyhow. Text and Publishing is the website that I run where I share my article. I write on different themes, political issues, religion, and so on. It's not too many times that I write an article that it gets so many reactions as this latest article that I've written. I published an article yesterday that I titled Why Kamala Harris Should Not or Cannot Be Elected President of the United States of America. And after I published it, I got quite a number of reactions. I think that article has hit a sore point in people's minds because many people who usually would not even react to my article reacted to this article. And because of that, I'm making this video because I want to shed more light to what exactly I'm saying in that article. Sometimes what is written may not be enough. Okay, and then you have to say a little more in connection to it. So in that article, I started by explaining or by narrating again the near-death experience of President Donald Trump. On the 13th of July, 2024, a few months ago, I pointed out the fact that, and it is something that has been pointed out by so many people who have observed the situation, that what led to that situation was just the sheer incompetence of the security people around Trump that day. And I got to understand that it's the state security service that was supposed to have provided Trump security. And that you will see women populated the whole thing, and the head of the security service, one shittle lady, is a woman, and she came with this strong woke idea that she was going to, what a man can do, a woman can do better, and she was going to populate the whole place with women. And so Trump's security team that day had so many women. Now, there is nothing wrong with women, except that when it comes to military, when it comes to security, when it comes to, using force, men are better at it all the time. Okay? It was Mouthwash that said that usually what happens is that when people apply for such a job, because the head of the service has already laid out a quota for women, whether those women merit that position or not, they are always taking it in. And that nearly cost the life of a man, okay? And if Trump had been killed that day, I can be sure of one thing. America would have been plunged at war right now, or they'll be going towards a civil war. So it was incompetence that I was drawing the attention of my readers to. It was not just necessarily because somebody wanted to kill Trump, but the fact that the whole thing was, ideally, it should have been nipped in the bud long before it happened. Now, it is this same incompetence that is leading up to the choice of Kamala Harris as a person running for the Democratic Party. For example, even after Joe Biden was convinced to step down and not to run anymore, the Democratic Party, the people at the helms of affairs there, that's Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, and all the rest, who were supposed to champion, at least they should have done something close to a primaries and opened up the space for others to run. There's this guy, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, was a leading candidate, and I think he had even shown interest. Okay, but they didn't open it because they knew that if they open up the space, Kamala Harris is not going to stand a chance against these people. Okay, so they just appointed her or selected her to run against Donald Trump. So already we are seeing, and she was selected based on some theories that I'm going to begin to talk about now, and already we're seeing this thing play out, that this woke theory, this critical race theory thing that tends to choose people based on the color of their skin rather than on their competence, or based on their gender rather than on their competence, is what is leading these people, these Democrats, to have chosen Kamala Harris as their flag bearer. They should have opened it up, but they cannot, because if they do, she would not even qualify. She would not win the primaries. Okay, so that brings us to something that is very vital in this discussion. I didn't spend too much time to talk about it in my article, so I'm going to spend that time here. Okay, and that thing is wokeness and critical race theory. The question is, what is this thing? All right, now, this is how I try to define it. I say that critical race theory is called CRT also. It's a worldview that teaches essentially that for years, America has given preference and advantage to the white man and looked down on blacks and other races. CRT says now to give advantage to those disadvantaged groups. The only problem is that merit is sacrificed, and whites who over the years have built strong family units and at the same time produce, because if you have very strong family units, you're going to produce strong individuals, strong male figures, okay, are now being discriminated. Whites are now being discriminated against, okay? So I went to Wikipedia, even though Wikipedia is not too much of a very good academic source, but it kind of breaks down certain definitions for us. Okay, so in Wikipedia, this is what Wikipedia says about CRT. Critical race theory is an academic field focused on the relationship between social conceptions of race and ethnicity, social and political laws, and media. CRT also considers racism to be systematic in various laws and rules, and not to be based only on individual prejudices. The word critical in the name is an academic reference to the critical theory rather than to criticizing or blaming individuals. CRT is also used in sociology to explain social, political, and legal structures and power distributions as through a lens focusing on the concept of race and experiences of racism. For example, the CRT conceptual framework examines racial bias in laws and legal institutions, such as highly disparate rates of incarceration among racial groups in the United States. A key CRT concept is intersectionality, the way in which different forms of inequality and identity are affected by interconnections of race, class, gender, and disability. Scholars of CRT view race as a social construct with no biological basis. One tenet of CRT is that disparate racial outcomes are the result of complex, changing, and often subtle social and institutional dynamics, rather than explicit and intentional prejudice of individuals. CRT scholars argue that the social and legal construction of race advances the interests of white people at the expense of people of color, and that the liberal notion of U.S. law as neutral plays a significant role in maintaining a racially unjust social order where formerly colorblind laws continue to have racially discriminatory outcomes. Okay, so basically what this thing is saying is that CRT is saying that white man always has advantage, or the white man is always given advantage in America, and this should not be so. Okay, now I raised 4 points in criticizing CRT, even from this short definition. I raised 4 points. The first one, I say that CRT ignores the fact that white families in America are often more stable than their black counterparts. Now, this is one point that has been ignored totally by those who champion the CRT. They forget completely that the white man over the years have come to learn and seen the advantage of having very strong family units. Okay? When some of us talk about the fact that the man should go out there and work and the woman should stay at home and take care of the children and raise them up as stable children, people say that we're trying to deny our women ability to work. But they do not realize that this is one of the things that has made the white families in America strong. Many white families, I'm not saying all, many white families pay attention to how they raise their children, their male and female children. And one of the things they do is that they ensure that it's the man working and the woman stays at home to raise godly and stable children. what eventually happens is that when those children grow up, the male among them go into society and become successful. The female amongst them get married to another male, strong, successful figure and takes care of the children and raises another stable family. Compare this to black families, where you see a girl of about 18, 17, 19, 20 years. She already has 3, 4 children from 4 different men. In fact, from 5, because one of the children, she's not sure whether it's this person that gave birth to the other. Okay, unstable families all over. The whole idea of baby mama, is creeping down into Africa now. Okay, when you have unstable family, you are raising children up where there are no fathers, and you want those children to grow up in society to become successful. It is not going to happen. Okay, the second point that I raised against CRT is this. CRT ignores the fact that America is the most meritorious country in the world, and that is where the American dream comes from. The fact that you can become anything in America by the strength of merit alone. Okay, so I mean they take for granted some of the things they have. These American people, all these people who are positing this theory, they take it for granted. Okay, I do not know how many Nigerians leave the shore of Nigeria, they go to America, and without knowing anybody, they just take a course, they do one thing or the other, and they become extremely successful. They begin to send dollars home. Why? Because they are in a system where they do not need to know anybody. You just need to read your book. You just need to meritoriously be skilled. You get into a system. Okay? They ignore all of that. They totally ignore all of that. Okay? And then they also ignore the fact that inequality is a part of the fallen nature of man. And now, this is a religious concept, all right? But it is something, I'm a religious preacher, so I'm going to have to include it. That you cannot throw away the fact that human beings will always be biased towards their own. Okay, so thank God some of us have traveled abroad. I went to Germany, and many of these people who are throwing around these theories have not been to Europe and seen the kind of inequality that runs there. I went to Germany. One of the things I experienced was pure racism. Okay, the way the Germans they think everybody is second rated. In fact, anybody that is not German is below them. The blacks are way below them. Okay? And it's the same thing everywhere in the world. Because everybody wants to regard themselves as better than others. It's a natural mindset of human beings. Okay? So sometimes it takes the gospel for you to now begin to change the mind and the worldview of people and say that, look, God created everybody to be equal. But the fallen nature of man always shows forth in the fact that people usually want to think or take the worldview that they are greater or better than others. So if the Americans do the same, or if the white Americans have been doing the same, they have just been behaving like any other person in the world. And you cannot criticize, because the truth of the matter is that even those of us in Southwest Nigeria, Yoruba people, we think that we're better than every other Nigerian. That's the truth. Okay? So now we come to a last point that I raised. I said that Africans can make the effort. Now, if Africans make the effort to fix their country, rather than go to find refuge in a nation that is already fixed, and then begin to complain of being marginalized, I mean, that one is something I don't even understand. If we are in our country and we are making the effort to fix our country, we will not be going abroad and be crying out, marginalized, racism, and all of that. We won't be doing that. And some of our black brothers who think that they are being marginalized, let them come down to Nigeria and let them come down to the shithole countries. Let's gather the shit together and eat it together. Okay? But if you can't do it, appreciate what you have. So that's the truth of the matter. Inequality is everywhere. Fallen human beings will always and America is a lot better than many countries. In America, by the sheer power of merit and the skill you have, you can become anything. We have the story. In my book, I talked about the story. My book, Humanity, get a copy. I talked about the story of the family, Adetokunbo family. their father went and their mother went from Nigeria to Greece in 1999. And the man went to play football, but he just realized he couldn't make it. Eventually, they gave birth to 5 beautiful children, all of them tall, gangling, and all of them went to basketball. One of them is a leading basketball figure in the United States. He's Nigerian. He came to Nigeria last year, for the first time with his mom. He's Nigerian. He's been MVP. He's everything. That's Giannis Adetokunbo. Purely by the power of his skill and merit. He didn't need to know anybody. Just the mere fact that he could play basketball, he got there. We have Hakeem Olajuwon, all kinds of people. And you're saying this system is marginalizing you. Come to Africa. Go to Europe. You will see. Go to Russia. You will see marginalization. Okay? So appreciate what you have. And that's some of the things that these people don't have. They are so well fed that sometimes they take the things that many people appreciate, they take it for granted. There's a last point I raised in my article, and that point is this. If Kamala Harris wins this election, and I think she can, I don't pray she does, but she can. If she wins this election, it is going to be God's judgment on America. It is going to be the beginning of the decline of America. First of all, they are going to have an incompetent president. And secondly, all this woke madness, all these liberal, nonsensical ideologies. I am a man, but I'm going to become a woman. I am a woman, I become a man. I am a man, I want to become a dog. I am a woman, I want to become a zebra. All this nonsense that has pervaded the American ideology, all of that will now begin to bear fruit. And I've predicted it's going to happen. That America is going to populate its military with women, and then they will go to war. And that's when they will realize that there's a difference between a man and a woman. Okay, now the reason why I'm making this video is not even to reiterate my article. You can read up the article and see it. The reason why I'm making it is to answer a number of questions that have come out of the article. Number of people who have criticized and raised these questions. Okay, so the first question that I have about 6 of them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 questions. Okay, I'm going to just answer them. All right, and that will be the end of the video. Okay, so the first question that I want to answer is this. Somebody asks, are you a misogynist or a male chauvinist? Okay, so a misogynist is somebody who is prejudiced against women. The same thing, a chauvinist is somebody who is prejudiced against or for a certain group. So the answer is no, I am not. All right, there are 3 beautiful women that are in my life, 3 of them. Okay, the first person is my mother. She's late now. She's the greatest human being that lived on earth. All right. And I've written tributes on her. I've written a tribute on her in my book. She's a beautiful soul. Okay. My mother is the best thing that ever happened to my life. All right. And for the sake of my mother, I can never be a misogynist. I can never. All right. Secondly, I'm married to a medical doctor. Beautiful woman. Okay, I find all my pleasure and satisfaction in this one woman. All right, this one woman. She's complete. She's my completeness. All right, and she's a gift from God to me. I can never look to other. I'm not saying there have been no temptations, but I'm saying I would never, and by God's grace, never look to another besides this woman. I honor her. I'm thankful to God for her. And I continue to trust God for the best for her. The last person is my daughter. All right. And because of her, I can't be a misogynist. Somebody say, okay, you're championing that women shouldn't work. What do you want to say about your daughter? Well, I'm raising my daughter, first of all, to be the wife of another man, of a man. That's the first thing I'm raising her to be a homekeeper. Okay. Then secondly, hopefully I gave her a good enough education for her to be able to run her business from her home, so that my daughter will have only one boss. She will have only her husband as her boss. Because this whole idea of having a boss outside and having a boss inside many times creates conflict. Okay, she will have just one boss and hopefully be able to give back to children and raise them up as godly seeds. And then from the home, build a family business that the husband will return from outside to come back in retirement to be part of. Okay, this kind of vision that I have for my daughter. So definitely I'm not a misogynist and I am not a male chauvinist. All right. So there's another question that says this. It says, what about Donald Trump and his evil ways? How do you respond to that? Two ways I would want to respond to it. Number one, Donald Trump has ruled America for 4 years. We saw his records. Okay, he was not perfect, but America was not what it is now. It was not. When America ran out of Afghanistan with its tail between its legs, that was the day I realized that America had begun to lose its powers in the world. And it was Joe Biden that was on the seat of power that time. I knew America was on the decline. It would never have happened if Donald Trump was in the office. It would, if Donald Trump was in office, this nonsense that is happening between Russia and Ukraine would never have happened. If Donald Trump was in office, this thing that is happening in Israel between the Palestinians, it would never have happened. The reason is because, you see, America has something we call military force. They flaunt it once in a while, and they tell the nations behave. Now, America is not perfect, but at the least, they have some standards that put and brings the nations and gives it order. When you have weaklings as leaders of America, every other person behaves anyhow. If Donald Trump was in office, I am convinced none of these things would have happened. Okay? Third question. What business does Nigeria have with the United States of America? Everything. The truth of the matter is that we are still a third world country and we are very much dependent on America. Those of us who are missionaries enjoy some of the biggest support, financial support from the United States. If America knows a decline today and America continues to go down in its power, its finances will also continue to go down. And the support that is coming from those places for mission work, for gospel purposes will also begin to go down. It will affect the gospel. So whatever affects America would affect gospel preaching in Nigeria and even all over the world, because it still remains that America is the biggest sponsor of gospel preaching all around the world. So whatever is happening in America concerns us because gospel preaching is at the heart of all that we do. Okay? Should a pastor render political commentary? This is a question that somebody sent to me, voicemail today on WhatsApp. They said, you're a pastor, why are you talking about politics? Okay, well, the truth of the matter is it's very simple. A pastor pastors human beings. Pastor means that we lead the sheep to find green pasture. Now, if it happens that the pasture or the feeding, both spiritual and physical feeding of the people are being threatened, a good pastor speaks out and warns and calls the nations to order so that peace that we're enjoying can continue. The good pastor is the one who warns a nation and says, don't go here, go there. Okay? Is somebody who says, choose this person, don't choose that. Because in choosing this person, it is likely that it's not going to augur well for you. Okay, Paul was a pastor when he was telling the shipman and saying that, look, I sense that this trip is going to be injurious to both our lives and even to the ship. Don't go yet. Okay, that's what a pastor does. He's able to discern and say, this is not right, this is right. All right? You are not a pastor just for going to the pulpit and preaching Bible. Look, if a nation is plunged into war, all the men that you are preaching Bible to, they will all be given guns and they will be sent out to go and fight the enemy to protect their wives and children. So it is better we all are involved in the political life of our nation or in the political life of the nations so that peace can reign in our national lives and so that we can go on to live peaceably lives and at the same time continue to preach the gospel. But if you keep silent and we say that, oh, we are just gospel preaching, the day will come, that crisis will come, and God has given us solutions in our mouths to be able to speak peace to the nations. But because we don't want to be termed as being controversial or termed as being taking sides, then we keep quiet. And then evil comes and God will hold us responsible. Okay, so any other pastor can do whatever they like with their ministry. But for me, I speak to people who who live in a city, they live in a nation, okay, and I know that their livelihood can be threatened by the political situation of the land, it will be evil for me to keep quiet when I should have spoken so that that evil could be averted. Okay, so that's the reason why I make political commentaries. Of course, it's not all that I do, but when it is necessary, I have to do it. Okay, and like this one, I'm working one in America. Don't vote Kamala Harris. Vote Donald Trump. All right. There's a question here. It says, what is the relevance of all this to gospel preaching? I've been teaching on it. America is the biggest sponsor of the gospel all around the world. It is. So whatever touches America touches the gospel. That's the truth. Even though God in his providence and his wonderful sovereignty can bring support from anywhere, but naturally speaking, why do we have to now wait for some miracles of support to come when we can naturally make things happen? All right. So that is it. Okay. What about the hypocrisy of white evangelicals? Now, this is one point that was raised by the brother. He raised it in the discussion that I had on WhatsApp yesterday. And he said that white Americans are very, very hypocritical. You know, many of these white Christians, and they will do one thing and then they will use Bible to cover it. Now, that is a reality we cannot run away from. Anywhere the gospel is preached, it's everywhere. Okay, but we cannot say because of the hypocrisy of a few, then we will throw away the whole thing. It's not possible. Okay, I can't say because Christians are being hypocritical, then I will not be a Christian. It's not possible for me to now say that because there are some white evangelicals who do one thing, they know that Donald Trump commits adultery, Donald Trump doesn't pay his taxes, and so on. They cover all of that up, and then they now start saying that let us vote Donald Trump all the same. The truth of the matter is this, that both the Republican and the Democrat Party in the United States of America are on the decline. But one is going faster than the other. So it is a principle of the lesser of two evils. That's the truth of the matter. Okay? So the mere fact that the Republicans still have some gospel truth, still have some gospel realities in their tenets is enough. It is just enough. And we can run with that. Okay? So the hypocrisy of white evangelicals or hypocrisy of Christians generally should not make us throw away everything about Christianity or throw away the fact that they are supporting one party. Okay? So America is in a dire strait. They are in a serious dire strait. What happened to Trump that day is going to begin to play out everywhere. They are going to put incompetent people everywhere based on the mere fact that, okay, this person is not a man, is a woman, put her there. This person is not white, is black, put it there. You do not know where this person is coming from. You do not know his merit. You do not know how skilled he is. You know, you just merely on the fact that of the mere fact of CRT, you put people in positions. Incompetence is going to reign. And it is going to affect everything in their national life. And everything will begin to go down. Okay, and then the last point, which many people are ignoring. They are ignoring. And just this morning, I saw the news item that, what's this madman from the East? Vladimir Putin. Putin is threatening Third World War. Right now, he's threatening it. He's telling America to be careful. Because America and most of European powers are supporting Ukraine, giving them arms and ammunition, strengthening them against Russia. And right now, Ukraine is bringing the war into the territories of Russia. And if it continues like this, Putin is going to do what everybody fears. And that's the fact that all these countries, Russia and all of these top countries, have nuclear weapons. If they deploy it, that is all. And as far as nuclear weapon is concerned, it's the first country to deploy it. I mean, people that died before you know what to do, what hit you. Okay, so wars are being threatened in our world today, and the only thing that avoids crisis is a policeman. Give it to them. God has given the United States that grace and ability to police the world. If you want to raise another policeman, raise them maybe from China or from Russia. The only thing, of course, is that you now begin to work with a different worldview entirely. Because those two countries are communist countries, they are atheist countries, So their worldviews are not coming even from a biblical worldview. America still has some biblical worldview. Okay? So then you're going to have a situation like that. But until then, we make do with what we have. All right? Every time in our nation, our world, God has always given the world a superpower. All right? And let's pray that America keeps it and they use it responsibly. All right? So that's my point. When I say that Kamala Harris cannot be president, I'm not saying that categorically she cannot be president. I'm saying that it's better she's not. Okay? And these are the reasons. All right? Incompetence. Putting the wrong people, putting square pegs in round holes. It's going to bring the United States down. Critical race theory. All of this nonsense, all this world liberal ideologies that is ruining the country. And they are transporting the madness even to our country. Okay? So it's not a matter of supporting politics or no politics. It's a matter of the fact that discerning people can see the future. And if certain things are not done now, it's going to affect us and our children in future. And so that it doesn't affect us, that is why I am making this video. My name is Pastor Deji Yusufu, Pastor Providence Reformed Baptist Church, Ibadan, here in the city of Ibadan. We meet at the University of Ibadan every Sunday. If you want to get to know more about what we do, please send me an email at newdjx@gmail.com. I want to thank you very much for watching this.